And that was Rock Till We Die by the band now joining me live in studio, Last Bullet. Good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah, what's
How's
up?
it going?
What's up? I understand you hit some traffic on the way over here.
It was a nightmare of a drive, and that is Toronto for you, so...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was smooth sailing, because I'm coming from the other way, right? I come out from Durham, and it was smooth until I hit the DVP. So it was just like, you know what, forget it. Jumped off gas, and like I was here in 15 minutes.
Yeah, the nightmare about Mississauga, Brampton area is I think every single human being who lives there works here, and vice versa. They're all going past each other, so that's why it's kind of screwed both ways.
Lovely. But enough about traffic. Let's kind of talk about music. We played what did we play? We played a few songs by you. We played Rock Till We Die, Not Can't Move On, What's Meant to Be, and help me out
Girls
here.
Gone Wild.
Thank you, because I've got the memory of a goldfish. So people who have been listening in, they got an idea kind of what you guys are about. But for someone who's never heard you before and never seen you live, and this is the first time they're ever hearing of the band Last Bullet, describe your music style.
There's a lot of influences. There's a lot of different influences. It's very classic sounding, but we try to put a modern twist on it. We try to take all of our influences that we grew up with and that we really appreciated, that were just very straight rock and roll influences like AC/DC, Aerosmith, all those kinds of bands from back in the day, Led Zeppelin. And then we realized that that's not something that's necessarily going to sell today on the market. So we're doing our own spin on it. We're making it a little bit more fresh and
a little bit more
modern.
raunchy too.
A little bit more raunchy too. A little bit more sex fueled and a little bit more twisted. I think a little bit more high energy.
Yeah.
So. Fair enough. So let's take a trip back in time, sorta. Talk to me a little bit. I guess we'll ask you first, Brian, and then we'll ask you, Brendan. How did you first get started in music?
Good question. Early in piano. I started playing piano when I was about 8. Like a lot of people, didn't enjoy the formal lessons, so I quit.
Okay.
And then I ended up playing the drums. You had to apply for it in about grade 7. I was 11 years old. Started playing the drums and marching snare in the elementary school band, and then that progressed to trombone, and then I played the drums in bands after high school. I played trombone in high school. I attended choirs in high school, and I also ended up taking opera vocal training, which is a little bit weird. A lot of people might not know that, but the more interviews we do, the more people will get to know me. Opera vocal training, which actually really helped on a lot of like breathing and things like that, and just all the technical things. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing jazz. I started singing at weddings. Started DJing. I was kind of all over the place, but I always loved music, especially rock first and foremost. I just liked the attitude and the passion, and then very long story short, I was playing the drums in a Black Sabbath tribute band.
Oh, right on. Okay, cool.
For about 4 years, which actually was a great experience because it gave me my chops as a musician. I played over 100 shows, and it was really good experience.
Cool.
Of being professional and just going there and doing your thing and doing a good job. And showmanship as well. And then I got fed up with that, took a number off the wall that said Last Bullet for singer, made the call, wrote some lyrics, showed up, and on my end, that's it. The rest is history. So.
Yeah, and I guess we'll get to the rest of that history as we sit here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw the same question at you, Brendan. How did you first get started in music?
Well, I got started pretty late, actually. I didn't start playing the guitar until about 3-4 years ago. Before that, I was, a music buff, not a crazy music buff. I'd listen to rock, I'd listen to my CDs, but I would never consider myself a musician. When I was growing up, I would never have thought in a million years that I would be considered an artist or consider myself an artist. But it was only until about, like I said, around 4 years ago, I got a hold of a Led Zeppelin concert DVD.
Okay, cool.
Of them playing Royal Albert Hall in 1970.
30. And
I watched that concert every day for maybe like 3 months, 2 months, and I thought, I got to learn how to play guitar. So
right on.
From there, I just bought a guitar. The other guitarist in the band, Michael Silva, he was playing guitar already, and he always had a guitar laying around in his basement, so every now and then when I was over there, I'd pick it up, strum it a bit, and just the rest is history.
Fair
It
enough.
just kind of snowballed. Guitar playing turned into jamming with a buddy, turned into looking for a bass player, a drummer, and then forming a band.
Okay, and I want to talk about now, Brian. You kind of led into it. How did the band first? How did everybody get together?
Well, this is like I was just saying. It kind of happened. It wasn't planned. That's for sure. I don't think
Okay.
so at first. Like I said, I started playing the guitar with my best friend at the time, Michael Silva.
Right.
And we just started jamming, and we'd get together, we'd write songs. And our drummer, Leo Defina, I went to high school with him, so he would always party with us every now and then. And he would come over, we were having some drinks, and we'd show him some of the stuff. And he told us that he played drums, and he'd want to come out and jam with us. So we said, yeah, sure, we could use a drummer. So he comes out, we jam, and, it's all good, it's all fun.
Right
just,
on.
Laid back, nothing serious. We never, had a band in mind, but it slowly sort of progressed till, like if we're going to jam, we might as well jam with a drummer, a bass player. So we ended up putting an ad out on Craigslist for a bass player.
Okay.
And we were pretty weary about it, but the first guy that shows up, we met him at a jam space by Woodbine Center, and he's this big tall guy. He's about 6'3", 6'4", ball cap. Looks like kind of like a jock. So we're all like rockers, I guess. But we talked to him. He was a pretty easygoing guy, and we asked him what he could play. He told us he could play some Velvet Revolver tunes, and we were like, "Oh, hey, we just learned one." So we ended up jamming on their track "Slither," and it was just like, okay, this is gonna work.
Right on.
And then from there, we got into a brutal search for a lead singer. We ended up going back to Craigslist. And we put out, a bunch of ads. We had a lot of responses. We listened to a lot of recordings. Basically, if you can imagine American Idol during its first week, that's
okay.
basically what we went through.
I would have loved to have been there.
Yeah, we actually, it's funny, we actually have, we recorded a lot of our
Audio tapes.
Yeah, our interviews. So we every now and then we go back. When we think Brian's slacking every now and then, we go back and listen to them, and we realize that we made a good decision.
Right on. And that was going to be my next question is, as a band, what sold you on Brian?
Wow. Well, we were kind of, at our wits' end, and we did one last run where Mike and I just drove all over the city and postered everywhere we could think of, every recording studio, rehearsal studio, with our ad for a singer. And we got a response from Brian, and he just strolled into the studio. We had no idea that he had written or rewritten lyrics to one of our songs that we had sent him. And he came in. At first, we were going to just audition him, play our track, and not play along with him. And he sort of was uncomfortable with that, and he was like, "Well, I didn't want to do this. I wanted to jam with you guys." So we're like, "Okay, whatever." So we plugged in. We got it going, and then 3 words in, like we knew he was the guy. Like he had the right register, the right range, the right amount of balls, and
Fair enough.
that was that.
If I had any less balls, I would have lost that
He would have
opportunity.
been cut. He definitely would have been cut.
Good stuff.
Good to know my balls were accurate size.
Oh, so that's where the interview's going tonight. Okay. Great.
It's rock and roll. It's rock,
It's rock and roll. It goes wherever you want it to go.
Right on. So we'll play a few more of your songs, but before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about your writing style. More so for you, Brian, when you're writing lyrics. Where does that sort of stuff come from?
I'm all over the place, so it depends. It mostly depends on how the music makes me feel. So there's no set way to write music. There's no rules that there's no right or wrong way to write music. Jim Morrison starts with lyrics. He writes poetry, and then he adapts it to music. I usually like to start with music. Usually I'll get something from Brendan. Brendan will write a riff, or someone will come up with something, or I'll write something on the piano, something along those lines. And then I just write down a million questions. I'll ask things like, how does this make me feel? Where does this take me? Like, what's the story that I'm trying to tell? Things like that. And then I based off how the music makes me feel, it has to move you in some way. I start to flesh out a story, and then I put it on repeat for about an hour until I start to hear a melody kind of coming through. It just pieced itself together in my head somehow. As far as lyrics go, it's more so how the music makes me feel. Sometimes I do feel like there's certain songs that I wish we had, so I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to write this kind of song. So like I won't necessarily copy the formula or anything of another band, but there'll be a type of song that I want, and then I'll do our own version of it.
Fair enough.
And that'll be, you'll see an example of that on the next EP that we'll be recording in the future. So.
Okay, right on. And I have to ask, having such a background, being a drummer and playing piano and playing a whole bunch of instruments, how does that affect, I guess, how the music, how you interpret music as you're writing lyrics?
It helps a lot because you have, not to sound arrogant, but you're not a one-dimensional musician. If you've done a few different things. I've been playing the drums for a while, so I have the rhythmic aspect. I understand rhythm, and I understand that I have to incorporate that somehow, and that it's important for making people want to move when they listen to music. And then I also understand the melodics and the harmonics via the piano that I play. So I'm glad. I'm very, very happy that I experienced both and that I've done both. I wish I could be even better at both of them. It would just make me a better musician. But yeah, having both of those, both something that's rhythmic and both something that's tonal, melodic and harmonic, it really, because you understand kind of the full aspect. So it helps you piece it together a little bit better than if you had just played the drums or just played guitar or piano.
I think a good example is that is our song Jet that will appear on our next EP that we're going to be recording next month. Brian came to me with lyrics and a basic beat, but it's a drum beat that he had that he knew would drive the song, and that's basically what it does. It gave me something to work with, some driving force that I was able to come up with a riff to. But just the fact that he came to me with more than just lyrics, he came with a basic sort of rhythm that really took the song where it needed to go.
Fair enough.
Yeah, actually, that's one thing that I find. I was just going to add the last thing is sometimes I don't even write a song with music right away. I write it with a vibe in mind. So I have a specific vibe that I'm going for, a specific feel. Like sometimes it's like Four to the Floor, AC/DC, just straight rock, and sometimes it's a little bit more funky, a little bit more sexy and hip. But sometimes it doesn't involve any instruments in my head right away. It's just a simple drum beat with very engaging vocal melody over top, and then everything else can kind of be filled in via the musicians we have in the band.
Fair enough.
So.
All right, well, we're going to start this next music break. We're going to be playing Can't Move On. Is there anything either of you want to say to help introduce this track?
Well, this is the tune that Brian wrote and auditioned for the band with.
Oh, okay.
And the lyrics never changed.
So this is
the tune.
These are the lyrics
This is
that
Last
I wrote
Bullet's
to get
first
this
song.
job. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get to that. You're listening to Radio Nation. You can follow us on Twitter at radio_nation. Follow the band Last Music at Last Bullet Music. Right, I almost messed that up. That was a close one. So we're going to be playing Can't Move On. This is Radio Nation. Andrew, get back in here. The song's about to end, and you're out in the hallway talking to fans, man. What are you doing?
I was about to do your job for you. I was going to change the next song.
And I would appreciate it. Someone's got to do it,
You are
right?
listening to Radio Nation with Brian Fontes, lead singer of Last Bullet.
Okay, yeah. I think that'll just be our intro from now on. And I'll just jump in and be like, I'm just kidding. It's not Brian, it's me. Sorry, guys. But as Brian was saying, you're listening to Radio Nation. I'm Andrew. I'm here with Last Bullet, and that was Carefree that we were just listening to. And before that, we listened to your newest single, Last Bullet. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's a song that is just as old or the same age as all the songs that were on our original EP.
Okay.
We wrote it at the same time, but when you record an EP, you have to choose your 5 best songs, and that's what we did at the time.
Fair enough.
We wanted it to be dynamic, too, so we wanted something mellow, like Carefree, and also something a little bit more of a love ballad, like What Is Meant to Be.
Right.
With that said, those are the 5 songs we chose. Last Bullet didn't happen to fit on there. And then we started writing new music, and we've been piecing together how our next EP is going to look. And not that we're changing too much, but the sound is going slightly in a different direction. It's still very much us, still raunchy, still rock and roll. It's just a little bit, just a touch different, and it's a newer sound for us. So we felt like Last Bullet might not be the best fit on this next EP per se. So we figured just to do a one-off and just do a single real quick. Release that so that we have something to whet people's appetites in the meantime.
A big thanks to Chris, our engineer, for putting that together for us and giving us the opportunity to get a single out there. So we actually did that in his basement. Very talented guy. He was just able to rifle that one off with as little gear as you can think of.
Right on.
Yeah, so great producer. He's the one who did our original Last Bullet EP, and he's also the one that will be doing our next EP.
Is there, although I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this already, is there a date on when that'll be out?
There's no specific date. We are recording in April, more than likely, and we should be done by May, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with it. We still have a lot of ideas up in the air with releasing it and things that we want to release with it. We're not sure what we want to do yet, but you can expect it. I'd say maybe late May, within June. I'd say
early
by
summer.
June. Early summer, yeah.
Fair enough. I just want to know so that I know when I can, pick it up and then play it on the station and then.
For
Hell
sure.
yeah.
Well, we'll send it to you. We got you on our contact list.
Right on. Okay, cool. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how you first got noted, like how you guys. I understand that you're now in regular rotation out in Edmonton. But how did you guys first, break out onto the scene?
Well, one of the first opportunities we had was in a competition through Y108. It was sort of like it was like a battle of the bands thing, and we ended up making it through a couple of rounds, even though we started the competition and we only had played 2 shows previously to the competition. But we were able to make it to the finals. We didn't end up winning it, but just by making it there, they gave us the opportunity to our songs on their indie show. So we had to scramble into the studio, record. We ended up recording "Can't Move On," a different version of it, and they threw that on their show for us. So that was sort of like the first big opportunity like we had, and most exciting thing that came our way when we first started playing. I would say next maybe was our CD release. We were all jacked up to get some music, make a physical copy of our music. So that was a big step forward for us. We had a big CD release party at the Rock Pile, packed the place.
About 400 people, 500 people.
Right on.
There.
Yeah, it was a crazy show. Fun time. We had a lot of support from family, friends, fans. It was pretty good. And more recently, aside from opening up for some pretty cool acts, like Die Mannequin, Bleecker Ridge.
We opened up for legendary guitar god Uli John Roth. He was the guitarist of the Scorpions from back in the day.
Right on.
That was really cool.
Yeah, but we played some cool shows. But aside from that, more recently, we were just put on rotation on 100.3 The Bear in Edmonton. And that was huge for us. We had a lot of support from their staff there. They're really backing us, so we're very appreciative of that.
Shout out to anybody in Edmonton who's listening in.
For sure.
Scott McCord, maybe.
Well,
Lachlan.
Thanks to Lachlan Cross, one of their hosts there at the Bear in Edmonton. He was the one who was the contact that I was speaking to, and he's the one who brought our music into the meetings and got it done. So. Really appreciative of that, and you know what? I always said, like, usually when you have good music, it's not enough. You got to do something with it. So the fact that we got approved to be on an FM station now, it's kind of snowballing. We got on 2 more stations, one in Nanaimo, BC, another one in
Fort St. John.
It's kind of expanding quickly, and once you get on one big FM station like The Bear, which according to Lachlan Cross happens to be one of the biggest FM stations in Canada, I think he said it's top 3. I don't know what he measures it by. I don't know if it's like revenue or listener base or whatnot, but yeah, long story short, it helps. It builds your resume, and then you can go to other stations and say, hey, they've approved of our track. They're playing it on a daily basis, 2 or 3 times a day.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a lot of wind in our sails, and hopefully we can keep this boat blowing.
Yeah, my hope and goal for this year is to finally get the wheels moving fast enough that they can't be stopped anymore. That it's just like a monster that has been unleashed.
Fair enough.
So,
how many shows would you guys say you've played as a band?
Wow, that's a good question.
If you were to ballpark it,
If we were to ballpark it, I would say, if we've been doing this for almost 2 years, you can say on average about 2 a month.
Okay.
So that's 24. We're probably hovering around 50 shows.
Yeah, 50.
40 to 50 shows.
yeah, that sounds about right. Because we took some break with recording here and there,
Fair
so
enough.
we won't play for a month, but then we'll play 4 shows in 1 month
Yeah.
sometimes. So it balances
So
itself out.
we're still very inexperienced, when you think about it, when you boil it down. But we're putting all we've got into this, so
Yeah.
we're making up for a lot of ground time that
Yeah.
we may have lost.
And you know what? We learned really quickly. When I was playing in that cover band for 4 years, I learned the difference between just being a musician and then being a real professional musician. And there's like a point where you realize like I'm getting paid for this, or people are here to be entertained by me, so
Right.
I better do a good job. And some people don't realize that they're just doing it for the fun, which it is fun for me. But I'm there to entertain people, and I get fun in that as well. So. Yeah, long story short, we're improving very quickly. Even I'd say in the past 6 months, we love going out to shows. We go to see a lot of bands, and we learn a lot from other bands who are doing. I'll admit it, better than us, or are more successful and have found success.
Mm-hmm.
We just try to emulate that. We try to look at how they've done it and incorporate whatever we can from that. So.
On this note, we have a few upcoming shows that we want to let you guys know about. We're playing this Friday, the 24th, at Tattoo Rock Parlor. We'll be going on around 10 o'clock, so make sure you're there by 9:30 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Catch our set. We'll also be playing...
Actually, come a little earlier because there's a great band playing before us called Rise for Order. They've been around Toronto for a few years now. They're real good. They're on at 9 o'clock. So doors open at 8:30. Make sure you come in right then, catch them, and then rock the hell out with us right afterwards.
Yeah, what else do we got? We got Canadian Music Week. We got a couple of shows that we'll be playing. One is at the Ballroom the Wednesday before the weekend of Canadian Music Week.
Yep, it's at the Ballroom downtown. It's for an event dubbed Indie Night in Canada 2012.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be packed. We'll be playing at 30 at night. We have one of the headlining. I think it's the headlining slot, but it's supposed to be a lot of people, a lot of industry people there as well. So it'd be good reason for a lot of musicians to come by and toss around some cards and music and catch a good band, talk to us, make some connections with us. We love to play with new bands and make friends. And so and then the other show that we have for the actual CMW show that we have, the registered certified CMW show, is at the Hard Rock Cafe right there in Yonge and Dundas Square. And
that's the Saturday night.
Yeah, there's a few details that are I think escaping me. Actually, no, it's Saturday at 11 o'clock. That's when we're playing. Saturday at 11. I remember now.
Yeah,
so Hard
and
Rock
then,
Cafe Saturday at 11.
We're gonna wrap things up with what we're calling the Toronto Takeover. The last 2 months we've been across Toronto, east to west, trying to really get our name out there. And this is going to be the final push that we're making with Canadian Music Week. But to cap this off, we're going to be playing a show April 6th at the Horseshoe Tavern. And this is going to be our last show before we go into the studio to start either
album.
pre-production or recording or tracking the new album. So I encourage you not to forget our website, lastbulletmusic.com. You'll find all our links there. You'll find all the information about our upcoming shows. Make sure you hit that up and check out what we're doing.
Yeah, man.
Right on. So while we're talking about shows, for someone who's, and I include myself in this, of course, obviously, but for someone who's never seen you guys live before, what does the typical show, what does that look like?
A lot of energy.
It's chaos. It's crazy.
Chaotic. So
It's intense.
I don't know.
It's headbanging. It's dancing. It's chicks grooving.
It's take a Red Bull,
Okay.
or 5,
Turn your guitar amp
and
to
some
11.
strippers. Turn your guitar amp to 11, and grow your hair down to your shoulders, and throw your hands in the air
just have a good time.
and just hold on to something for dear life.
One of those, eh?
Yeah. So
Good stuff.
It's hard not to have a good time.
yeah.
Whether you dig the music or not, you're just going to love the energy, you're going to love the enthusiasm, and you're going to see the passion that we have for what
Yeah,
we do.
I have a million adjectives I can give you about our show, but we'd be here all day.
Fair enough. So, what is the typical? I almost want to say jam session, but I don't know if that maybe that is what it is. But what does the typical practice look like for you guys?
Well, that's interesting that you ask. Having a band with 5 guys in it, each doing playing a different instrument or doing their own thing, it gets kind of difficult to coordinate sometimes. But maybe at first we had a lot of difficulty, making decisions and being efficient about using our time, because we're all very busy guys. We all have jobs. We're trying to keep afloat while still invest all of ourselves into what we're doing here. But we found a sort of a good, I don't know, what would you call it?
Common ground.
Yeah, common ground.
Yeah.
We know this. We have a system now that we go by, so we can sort of breeze through decisions. But when we get to the studio, we plug in, we really pick apart our live show, and we try to put ourselves in the minds of the audience, right? Because obviously they're going to see it in a different light than we do.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's hard sometimes to make that disconnect from our own perspective and get into their heads.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do.
When we first started, we did what any band does at first, and you show up and you go through all the songs. That's all you do, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's how you start, and everyone's going to start somewhere. But then when you start to realize that you have to take this a little bit more seriously and more professionally, then you have to get specific, and you got to start tweaking little things here and there, and little things. Any musician who's in Toronto right now listening that is trying to living at what they do, they'll know exactly what I mean when I say things like transitions between verses and choruses, dynamics, exploding on first notes of choruses, things like that. Things that are just like regular rules in live rock shows. And like I said, we watch a lot of rock shows, and we're influenced by a lot of bands, even bands now that are making music at the moment. And we see what they're doing, and we try to incorporate it. I mean, like, just the formula, not necessarily the music itself, but I mean, definitely the formula of what they're doing, because people are successful, then why not try to copy the formula that they're using to attain that success yourself?
Fair
I think
enough.
that's what life is kind of built around, you know what I mean? So,
Now, looking back on the number that we're going to throw around here is 50. Looking back on 50 shows, what would you say, I guess, what are some of your favorite, I guess, experiences as a band when you're playing? Like, what are some of the things you look forward to?
Myself, it's crazy sometimes, and it's very unexpected when we play a show and we end up getting a lot larger turnout than we normally or would be expecting at the time. And we play our show. We have our fan base, and they've been so supportive since day one. But when you look out there on stage and you see your loyal fans, your family, your friends, even new people you've never seen before chant your chorus line back to you.
Right on.
It just you can't help but
Yeah,
have a
especially-
stupid smile on your face.
yeah, especially, sometimes I don't even think about it. I never put much thought into it, but then when I sit down and I fully grasp the concept of, like, the fact that someone else has taken the time to learn the lyrics that I have written,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now they're singing it back to me. And I didn't fully grasp that at first. I was just like, whatever, it's a song and they're singing it. But then once I really grasped it, I'm just like, awesome. But yeah, a lot of really cool experiences. That's one of them. Another one for me is my favorite shows that we've ever played were at the Opera House. I love that venue. I really like the Opera House, and the last time we played there was a great show, one of our best, I feel. Great lighting, just overall packed, lots of people there, good energy, people dancing, singing, everything. And yeah, one of the moments that I loved was, and I felt funny at the beginning every time I did it. It's like becoming a little bit something that I'm a little more used to, but signing autographs. People ask me for my autograph. I'm just like, what do you want my autograph for? I'm a nobody.
Yeah, it's worthless.
Yeah.
Give me your autograph.
Yeah. But that's one thing that I felt funny doing at the beginning, and it's a cool experience. I
Kind of surprising, because I think none of us really consider ourselves, worthy of, giving an autograph to anyone.
Yeah.
So, but we start to see past this. We're already looking ahead to the next step, and we're so far ahead that sometimes maybe we don't, indulge in some of the rewards that we're achieving.
Yeah.
Right.
With our work right now.
Yeah. Well, long story short, every year we've been achieving more and more, and I'm really content with what we achieved in the past 2-3 years that we've been together. And it's escalating, and every single year something bigger happens. So if it keeps going at this arc, I'm going to say, if it keeps going at this rate, then I think success is inevitable. So
Good stuff.
yeah.
That being said, we're going to take our second music break. When we get back, we're going to be talking about how you guys use social media to help take over the world. What each member brings to the band, either musically or just whoever the class clown is, and then we're going to hit the speed round.
All right.
Yeah. That'll be a lot of fun.
I've never done a speed round.
Oh yeah, it's a blast.
Sounds like fun.
It is. Trust me.
Is there?
I'll answer that question when I turn the microphones off. You're listening to Radio Nation. I'm Andrew. This is The Last Bullet, and we're back. It's 5 after 9, or whatever time it is in whatever time zone you're listening in. So 8:05, 7:05, 6:05. You get the idea. 6:05 if you're Nick and you're listening in on the West Coast. Update on Nick's interview a little later on with Miss Angelica. It actually says on Twitter that we're going to be playing it at 10:30 Eastern time, but we're probably going to be playing it more so around 9:30, 9:45 our time. So if you're listening out in Vancouver, that'll be around 6:30, 6:45. So stay tuned for that. Oh, and shout out to Nick who's listening in New Jersey. Random stranger who I met over the internet. I don't even know how we got connected, but yeah, he's listening in. So
What up, Nick?
Jersey. Go Devils. For all the hockey fans out there.
Not tonight.
Well, that's my team. That's my team.
Surprised you're not watching then. Toronto's winning 2-1 last time I checked.
I'm here. What can I do, right? I'm here. Anyway, we're not here to talk hockey. Well, maybe we are. I don't know. You guys,
Well, maybe a little bit later.
I mean, you kind of look like Roberto Luongo, so maybe you're fine.
Oh my God!
Does he not?
I've never made that connection. That is amazing.
The wet hair, yeah.
Oh my God! You just changed my life.
I'm sorry.
I'll never look at him ever again.
Yeah,
differently.
I just left the Canucks. I gotta pursue rock
That's
and roll.
amazing. He does look like
Screw
Roberto
goaltending.
Luongo.
That's honestly the first thing I saw.
You just need to be a little bit more tired. You need a little bit bigger bags under your eyes, and you're good to go.
A little bit more tired.
Awesome.
No goatee. Roberto, right there.
There it is. I'm sorry.
That's all
And just make a lot of excuses for letting in 5 goals, and you're good to go. All right. Enough
Good
hockey.
stuff.
Rock and roll.
Enough hockey for now. We might get back to hockey. Who knows?
Yep.
I forgot to mention the giveaway. Usually what we do on every show, I've told you guys off the air, but for the sake of people who are listening for Last Bullet and aren't regular listeners to the show, every week we do a giveaway. We give away CDs, a date with one of the band members, all sorts of crazy stuff. Ooh. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, this week's question, tweet us at radio_nation. What did you do last week? It was Valentine's Day. We didn't have a show. I was busy. Nick was busy. I'm sure these two gentlemen were busy.
We got busy.
We were busy.
There it is. But tweet us at radio_nation. What did you do for Valentine's Day? We're going to be picking, just at random, picking some of the responses, and it'll be a guy and a girl, because it'll be T-shirts will be involved in this prize pack. So yeah. So look forward to that in the coming weeks. So that'll be fun. Moving right along. So tell me a little bit, guys, about. Well, we'll do it this way. I'll ask Brendan what Brian brings to the band, and I'll ask Brian what Brendan brings to the band. So whoever wants to go first, what does the other bring to the show?
I'll go first. Absolutely nothing.
Well, thanks, Brian. Piece of crap.
I'm just kidding. No, go ahead.
Brian, he's a pretty multifaceted guy. Aside from his his musical talent, which is very broad, as you guys know, he's an awesome vocalist. But he can also, he's also killer on the drums and the piano. So he's got a good grasp of music and theory and whatnot. But in terms of his character, he's a very determined person. I think he he gives a lot of drive that the band needs sometimes, and you know, he's a hardworking dude. He's always on the grind, you know, always, you know, keeping our social media up to date, and he's really passionate, and that inspires me, because you know, that kind of drive motivates me, and it's very exciting to be a part of that, and to be a part of this project, and it only makes me want to get into it even deeper.
Fair enough.
First of all, Brendan impresses the hell out of me for the simple reason that he can play as well as he can, given the amount of time that he's been playing his instrument. It's quite ridiculous when you think about it. I've met a lot of guitarists in my life, and some of the best guitarists I've ever seen, and they've been playing their entire lives. And a few of them that have been playing pretty much their entire lives still haven't gotten the kind of grasp on their instrument that Brendan has within the past 3 or 4 years. So it goes to show that like complete passion and dedication for your instrument is what makes the difference. You don't have to play for 20 years to sound like, maybe is a bad example, but Van Halen or something like that. Or maybe you do. but yeah, you can get a firm grasp of your instrument just from a little bit of time or a little bit of time and a lot of dedication, a lot of passion and hard work. That's pretty much what solves everything. But as far as what he brings to the band, he's got a really creative mind for a lot of really cool riffs. He's got a great ear for guitar sounds and sounds that attract people to a raunchy style of rock and roll that we all really like. And he's also passionate. I'll be completely forward and honest and say sometimes I'm over passionate. I'm an extremely passionate human being, so I'm glad that I can inspire other people through that, and even people in the band. But he like picks up on that well, and he's extremely dedicated too. And I think what did you just do recently? You just quit your job?
I just quit my job.
He just quit his job.
Gave up my
his
career
full-time
in teaching.
job. He took teacher's college, I think, for 4 years, over 4 years. Can be a teacher right now if he wanted to. Start his career, and is deciding not to music and put everything that he has into this band. So that's dedication to me, and that's what I love about him. That obviously his heart is in the right place, and he's taking this seriously. And it's nice to know that he has a plan B, because I definitely don't.
So it's music or bust.
It's music or bust.
Excellent.
Exactly.
So I guess that kind of awkwardly sort of leads into my next question is, what are some of the challenges you guys face as, not just as a band, but individually being musicians?
Good question. Go for it.
Well, obviously, you know, we're going to have creative differences in any realm of a band, whether it's, you know, where do we invest our time, where do we invest, you know, the little money that, you know, we produce, you know, what song do we push, you know, what like vibe are we going for, what exactly do we want to do, what shows do we want to play, but you know, we find a way around it. We're lucky that we have 5 guys in the band, so basically every decision comes down to a vote, and we're never at a stalemate. That works.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the challenges usually are difference in opinion, because we're all very opinionated and very passionate about the band and the music that we're playing and everything. But we try to keep it very democratic, so we try to make sure that majority rules, and as soon as there's 3 votes, it's good that there's an odd number. If we were a 4-piece band, we'd be screwed.
I think a lot of my frustration, or like the experiences that I find, you know, halter us, is a lack of time. You know, we want to do a ton of things, and you know, we're very limited. So for me, it's just an investment thing. I think that sort of pulls us apart. Some guys may be, you know, a little bit ahead in terms of the time that they're giving than others, and that, you know, that might put a lot of strain on the guys.
Yeah. And one thing that we learned being in a band, not everyone is going to, not every single person, there's so many dynamics in a band, not every single person is going to give 100% in the way that you want it. It could come in different ways. Everyone's got different things to offer in the band,
right.
And they've got their strong points and their weak points, and it's just a matter of understanding that
But we have a good, we have such an amazing, collection. Everyone has their strengths, and where we all have our own weaknesses, there's another member to pull it back up. So, where one falters, another one grabs. So we got each other's backs, and it's just, we've come this far with very little getting in our way
and very little time in such a short amount of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're such a a good group together. It's it's hard for us not to stumble.
Yeah,
So.
in terms of challenges, like with the band itself and what we've been facing musically is, I mean, you could take this with a grain of salt, but the only thing that I was going to say is, I find that our rock, the rock that we're selling, is very Americanized. It's very American in style, and I like sometimes, especially in a city like Toronto, that can help us with certain people. But for a city that really likes their indie rock and things like that, especially the Edge being so popular here in Toronto, it kind of works against us, and that's why we tend to see that our fan base is bigger and not bigger, but a little more passionate in other places in the world, like the States. Just seems to, anyone in the States that seems across that border that seems to listen to our stuff just seems to instantly link up to it.
Right.
It's just like it's a no-brainer. But yet in Canada, I'd say like it's. I mean, like 3 out of 5 people who will really like it, and then the 2 will just be indifferent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Outside of that, we're obviously we're all very busy guys. We're all trying to stay afloat with our day job. So even just finding, money to support some of our ventures,
issue,
like
yeah.
our CDs, and we want to do a video and we want to do a tour. So, we're having to look elsewhere, and we've applied for grants, and we're hoping that some of those will come through for us. But that's, I think, one of our biggest hurdles as a group is finding the financial means to send our project forward.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. So where do you guys see yourselves 5 years from today?
5 years, that's a long time.
That is a long time.
We're going to be touring the world.
If we're not opening for someone really, really big by the end of next year, I'll be extremely disappointed. And I say big, I mean extremely successful and kind of global, international, all over the world.
Right on.
I'll be very disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I won't quit. I'm not going to stop. But I've got huge plans. And the amount of ground that we've covered in the short time that we've been together, it fascinates me. And I don't think that there's anything that can stop you. It's one thing that's been inspiring me lately is just the concept that if you refuse to fail, like you just won't take no for an answer. You just refuse the concept of failing, that it's going to come eventually, So.
Fair enough. So I want to talk a little bit, and we'll get to the speed round in a moment, but I want to talk a little bit about social media, so Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Reverb Nation, whatever, like what you guys are using. What are you guys using, and how are you using it to help connect with your fan base?
Mm-hmm. Twitter is a godsend. Twitter is, for bands who aren't using it, or for people who don't understand necessarily the concept. The first time I heard of Twitter, I thought it was dumb. I really did. I thought it was stupid. I didn't want one more piece of social media that I had to deal with. I'm like, Facebook is enough. All this MySpace, it's enough. I don't want to deal with anymore. And I had to get onto it via the band, but once I started understanding how it works and how instant it is, because Facebook is not the same kind of means of social media, once I realized it, things started just exploding. This year, in fact, every single radio station, including yourselves, us being here at this very radio station, Radio Nation right now, was done through Twitter, via Twitter. And before I forget, a huge thank you to our promotions leader, our promoter, Roy Galpin, who got us on Radio Nation and got us on, I'd say, like 90% of the internet stations that we're on, and FM stations. If it was not for him, we would not be on FM radio. So with that said, Twitter is gigantic because it's instant. You find what you're looking for, you make a connection, and it's really been working for us. As far as Facebook goes, it's a little bit more multimedia in terms of its use. You can post all your videos, music, pictures, lots of updates, things like that. It's a little bit more multifaceted. You have your events and all that kind of stuff. A little bit more organized. So we try to use everything to the best of our ability. MySpace is dying very much, so nobody's going on MySpace anymore. We'll still update it, but yeah, we try to stay on top of whatever pieces of social media are the most efficient at the moment. So,
all right. Well, before I start the speed round, I want to thank both of you guys for coming in for tonight's show. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, thank you,
thank
Andrew.
you
we
for having
appreciate
us.
being here.
yeah, for
My
sure.
Luongo insult aside, it's been a good time.
No, that's gonna stick forever.
I'll
You
let
just
that one.
watch.
I'll let that one go.
I won't.
Okay, sweet.
I won't.
But if there's anything, maybe anything I've been asked, or any shout-outs that you want to give, please, by all means.
Yeah, we just want to make sure you guys hit up our website, www.lastbulletmusic.com. You'll find a link to all of our outlets and our social media sites. So please hit that up. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Keep up with what we're doing. We got a bunch of shows coming up as part of our Toronto Takeover tour. We're playing Tattoo Rock Parlor this Friday. We'll have a couple of shows during Canadian Music Week, and we're going to do our last show before we go into the studio on April 6th at the Horseshoe Tavern. That's going to be a crazy night. You're not going to want to miss any of these.
Yeah.
So check out our Facebook page, check out our Twitter page, go to our website. You'll find all the information there. It's www.lastbulletmusic.com.
And ladies and gentlemen, to those of you who are listening, I urge you to come to a show. I am telling you, you don't know what you're missing. Will blow your mind. It's chaos. It's chaos.
We'll remind you why you love rock and roll.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. And like Brendan said, keep in touch. We have so many cool things, so many things we're going to be doing in the next couple months, cool ideas that are going to be coming to fruition now that we have the time and the money. And one of those is going to be a mind-blowing EP that we can't wait to record. It's going to be a lot of fun. Potentially things like music videos, things like that coming up. A lot of really cool ideas down the pipe. So keep in touch because they're all coming through within the next 2 or 3 months.
And you mentioned your website, but where else can people get a hold of you?
People can get a hold of us on our Facebook as well, which is just facebook.com/lastbulletmusic. Our website acts as a hub. It has a link to every single one of all of our social media sites. So you can, once you go to that, you're linked up to everything. If you do want to get a hold of us, if you want to email us, you can email us at lastbullet@live.ca, lastbullet@live.ca, if you want any bookings or anything like that.
If you want to contact an individual member of the band, go to our Facebook page, go to our Twitter page, and you'll find our individual contact information there on our info page or our profile page.
Yeah, and don't draw it at just adding us to Facebook. Add us individually. We love to hear from fans and people who have listened to us on the radio and listened to our music. Any feedback, we love criticism, positive or negative. We're just looking to improve. So yeah, get in touch with us. Say hi. Really appreciate it. It's awesome. So.
And as self-serving as this is, you can also follow us, Radio Nation, on Twitter @radio_nation. So send us a tweet. You can follow myself personally, Andrew Phillips. It's @EldestTulip. It is 2 words, but you just put it together as one word, so just spell it